I wanted to go and create a mini lecture. I will be doing this for each weekly module. So this is week 1's mini lecture. Let's talk about what this course is about and what the definition of management is. So management is the process of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling an organization's people, materials, machines, methods, money, information, resources, and markets to achieve organizational goals in an efficient and effective manner. This can be discussed as the POLC framework. So a quick little picture of the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling framework. Under planning, we talk about the vision and the mission of the organization, as well as the strategies and goals and objectives of the organization. Organizing and then is how do you organize your environment? What is the structure of your business? What is the culture and the types of social networks that are active in your organization? Then how do you lead and make decisions, provide communications, and do motivation and team development? And then finally, the controlling piece of the framework are the systems and processes that you would have in place in order to manage your environment, as well as the strategic human resources. So sometimes we talk about managers and leaders and use those terms interchangeably. I want to challenge you a bit to think of them slightly different. So if management is defined as getting things done through others, then leadership should be defined as the social and informal sources of influence that you use to inspire action taken by others. It means mobilizing others to want to struggle towards a common goal. So leaders set destinations, managers navigate the roads to get there. Leaders appeal to the heart, managers appeal to the head. Leaders set direction, managers set plans with details. Leaders take ownership, managers take responsibility. This information I got from a website cited here, Leaders versus Managers, and you can find it at the given web link provided. So a lot of the material in this week's module talks about different experts that are well known as management theorists. So let's take a look at some of the early theorists, the early views of management. They were heavily oriented towards efficiency at the expense of that manager as a leader role. So remember back when the times where these particular individuals were beginning to be well known in the management as a management expert, the industrial business complex was really around managing direct labor and manual labor. So a lot of their theories center around efficiency and productivity. So the first one that's discussed in the module is Henry Fayol. You can see he was from the late 18th century, 1800s through early 1900s. He was a French mining engineer turned executive who developed the general theory of business administration. Frederick Taylor, around the same time as Henri Fayol, was an American mechanical engineer who formalized the principle of scientific management to improve business productivity. So he developed the whole thought process of scientific management and how to apply it in a business environment to solve business issues. Frank and Lillian Gilbreth they particularly were they built off of Frederick Taylor, but created efficiency gains by identifying one best way to complete a task. So you can see that these were all in the, early 1900 time frame where they were becoming well known. But now some of the key experts that we link to are from the early 1990s. And one of the ones that comes to mind is Peter Drucker, who passed in 2005. He writes about how to manage knowledge workers. So you can see that some of the viewpoint of management changed over time. So instead of it being about direct labor, it is now moving into managing your knowledge within your workforce. Another major player is Tom Peters, and he emphasizes leadership, innovation, and changing management relationship with your employees and customers. And he's still writing to this day, and he has a number of books that you might find interesting. Can you think of some others? I'm sure you've run across some other major business leaders that have become management experts. Throughout your development here at the American Women's College and some of your other business courses, you'll be introduced to many of the other management experts. Let's take a little look at the traditional versus contemporary management structure. So traditionally, the your top level managers set the direction and just relied on their lower level managers to keep the employees in line and implement that strategy. Now, the contemporary viewpoint is to really invert that so that the lower level managers are as responsible in developing and understanding the competitiveness and their own personal development. And that top management is really there to be that leadership role, to play that leadership role, to support development and ensure that the business remains intact. So let's talk a little bit about contemporary management challenges. So in your readings this week, you'll see these 5 things that are highlighted. The challenge of how our businesses relate to the environment is becoming much more part of the economic landscape. The increased personalization and customization of our products, the pace of innovation, the increasing complexity of the products that we produce or create, as well as the competition for talent and recruitment within our organizations. But I'm going to layer on some of the newer things that are beginning to hit the scenes now. Obviously, globalization is becoming a huge part of managing in the 21st century. The exponential explosion of data and technologies within our business environments. And so understanding and being able to make decisions based on data is becoming a critical skill set. I added talent management as a separate item to, in addition to what we just talked about or what your reading materials discuss, because there's more to just recruiting employees, getting them in the door. Good management now requires developing and analyzing performance so that you can keep your employees in your business. And then managing scarce resources. How do you manage the talent that you have, the budgets that you have, logistics, and the whole theory of supply chain management is enormous in today's business environment. So in conclusion, week 1 is setting the framework for what will follow for the rest of the session. So the framework is the POLC framework. It stands for planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And we will be touching elements throughout the rest of the session. Each week we'll take a different look at each tenet of that framework.